let's go. I am over-caffeinated and
same.
sleep deprived as always. But I've got my nice...
I am shaking.
Hibiscus tea.
Ooh.
Literally earlier... I don't know why I always do this to myself. I always try to caffeinate myself to, like, make myself feel more awake, but the only thing I succeed in doing is, like, raising my heart rate while I still feel exhausted. It's a terrible way to live your life.
I don't know how you stay caffeinated with just tea. That is, like, the pre-game for me. I need coffee. And I know you don't drink coffee.
The chronic anxiety disorder does help the caffeine to hit extra hard in small amounts, which is kind of, like, both a blessing and a curse. So, you know. It has its perks, it has its disadvantages. So that's why we're not doing the third cup of caffeinated tea today and just sticking to herbal.
Ooh.
I say, but watch me downing like a chai latte at 11 p.m.
As you should.
As I probably shouldn't, but do anyway.
I support it. But anyway.
Thank you. Yes, let's get into some of the questions we have slotted for today. We have some from our lost episode where we screwed up the audio and got an hour's worth of nothing.
Yeah, honestly, Zoom has been playing us today, like just messing with us, and that day as well. So hopefully this one comes out okay.
Yeah, you know, maybe someday we can actually, like, you know, record in person with, like, nice actual podcasting equipment and, like, you know, nice microphones.
Yeah, several things would have to happen.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
There'd have to be no coronavirus. We'd have to have the funds to pay for all this nice equipment. And both those...
Technically,
yeah.
If we were filming this together, we could actually go splitsies on, like, a nice microphone where that, like, actually has, like, XLR cables and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
God, I wish that were me.
One day.
One day. Okay. So, start us off. We're gonna go, would you rather know how or when you're gonna die? Discuss.
This is a difficult one. I don't want to know either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to know either, but if I have to pick one, I'm probably gonna
you go first.
Say when. Because what if it's something, like, mundane, like a car crash or, like, any kind of household accident? I don't want to have to, like... Sorry, moving my cursor off the screen. Stop it. Stop. Okay, never mind. I don't want to have to, like, freak out every time I, like, get in a car or, like, enter the kitchen. Or, like, you know, I don't want to live my life like that. If I can just know that it's, like... I'm 20 now. If I just know that it's, like, 60 to 70 some odd years in the future... I mean, I'm 22. I don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
see, and I see...
No, I'm not.
I see your reasoning for that, yet I would want to know how. Not so much, like, I wouldn't want to be paranoid and just avoid all things, but, like, what if it's a painful death? And, like, I feel like I'd want to be in the know about what's coming, and also then I'd be paranoid about the when if I did know that. What if it happens to be at a young age? Like that, like what if it says 2 years?
Yeah. Like
that would be an ultimate stressor. Like, all right, so what am I going to do the next 2 years?
Yeah, that would be like, I don't know. Just statistically though, I feel like it would most likely be, like statistically, you're most likely to die older. So if I have to pick one, or I don't know, maybe if you like die something, it's like, you know, heart attack or whatever, you know, that's probably not going to happen to you in like your 30s.
Yeah, but what if you could like cheat the system and
can like our actions impact this?
Yes, like what if mine is, I don't know, a plane crash, which is very unlikely. I just won't fly. I won't fly again unless, what if that ends up being like a plane crashes on me and I'm just walking?
Or what if, that's like a Greek myth type thing. We're trying to
like a loophole.
Avoid your fate. Like, sends you head first into it. Like what is it? Oedipus. It's like, we'll send him away so that this prophecy never comes true, but sending him away
and
is the
because of it
thing that causes it to come true. So yeah, I don't
know. I feel like there'd have to be something like that would happen. Like if you avoid the thing, it
It's
will
gonna come
like
back around
find
and bite you
you.
in the ass some way.
It will still find you.
Although, like, what if it was like a countdown, and you could like it would change depending on your decisions. So like,
You know, you bring that up, that reminds me of that Nickelback video, Saving
gross.
Me. Okay,
Gross.
I'm not a fan, but I feel like this is just ingrained in everyone our age's childhood, like just knowing certain Nickelback songs.
Okay,
All right,
interesting.
maybe some more so than others, but that was like a staple of my childhood that was forced upon me. I didn't choose it. But anyway, in this video,
As one does.
there there are these numbers above everyone's head. They're in some city walking around, and it's the countdown to when they're dying. And there's this one person who is about to get in a car accident, and her number is drastically dropping, and someone pushes her out of the way, and then it goes back up to a lot of time. So, and then another person is like on a gurney and they're already dead, and they have like 0 minutes and seconds. So it's interesting.
So like in this concept, you can see everyone's.
Yeah, you can see everyone's.
So, oh my God, like,
or well, it's one. I think it's one. I haven't watched the video in a while, but I think it's one person who can see everyone's, and they can't see each other's.
Interesting. What if you like got on like a bus or a plane or some mode of transportation, and then everyone's timer went down to the exact same time?
Oh my goodness,
I
don't know. Jump out the window. Well, not if it's a plane.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have to say when, because I feel like statistically the most likely thing that's gonna come up is that I would get is like, yeah, you got a wild dude, don't worry about it. Whereas knowing how would probably be worse.
I think knowing how is worse, but I would still choose it because I'm very fearful of seeing the when in like 10 years. And I'm also 22, so that'd be like devastating.
Yeah, I had a very extremely unhealthy fear of like to the point where I don't know why my anxiety was not diagnosed when I was approximately 6. I had an extremely unhealthy, like, obsessive fear of death as a child. Like, I was 6 years old and I didn't want to go to bed because I was afraid I would die in my sleep. It was so bad. I don't know how myself or no one else realized that I was as anxious as I am for quite some time.
You know, I sometimes, and this started when I was about 16, I just think like, wow, like I'm not gonna be around one day, and then I think about nothing. I don't either. When those thoughts come, like something else, because just.
But at the same time, there's sometimes like I get the opposite of that, where I'm just sitting there like, wow, I exist, and there is nothing I can do about it. Like, I am real. People perceive me.
I know.
There be bones under my skin.
You have those moments of like, wow, I'm a real person.
Right?
That's cool, but also terrifying.
And like I have these moments, I'm like, why am I perceiving
myself?
Like, why am I experiencing the world from this perspective instead of someone else's? Like, why am I me?
Yeah. Like how did this come to be?
I get hit with those all the time.
Oh, well, that actually makes me feel better that it's not just me. I figured it's not just me, but it helps to know others feel that way too.
I was a kid, and this one is way less like sad and undiagnosed mental illness. But I remember having the realization that not everyone thinks in English. Like that people in other languages like someone who grows up speaking Spanish doesn't see a cat, think cat, and then say gato. It's just gato. That blew my mind as a child.
You know what's very cool? My mom studied Spanish in college, and that was her major. She went to Spain for a year, and she was
Spanish for like 11 years.
Me too, but I don't know anything. But gotta love public school. Anyway, she was, I think she was fluent, but she was, if not fluent, like near fluent.
Yeah.
And she told me when she was in Spain, like, so she was speaking Spanish all the time. She would have dreams in Spanish.
Yeah.
Like and I know that's a thing, but just hearing it from someone you know and whose first language was not Spanish, that's pretty cool.
I actually haven't taken Spanish for nearly that long. I took Spanish from first grade all the way up through my last year of high school. And I still, like, I've retained a very decent amount of it because I also just like it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I have noticed, especially because I got to college and I was like, okay, well, if I can't take Spanish, because for some reason they told me that I would, like, couldn't take any more Spanish classes because it'd be a waste of time. And I was just like, okay, well, I like Spanish. Is that a waste? I like Spanish. What the hell? But anyway, I did, like, a year and a half of not taking a language, and I'm like, okay, this sucks. Russian. But as a person who is, like, fluent in one language, decently proficient in another, and then beginner in a third, the difference in, like, noticing the difference in, like, my abilities in each. Like, English is obviously, like, you know, first language, native speaker, like, it's on such a subconscious level that I don't, like...
think about it.
Yeah, like, I don't think about it. But the thing is, I notice that I have more of that ability with Spanish than I do with Russian. Like, especially basic Spanish. Like, I don't... Like, if I see basic sentences, I don't translate each word. I just... That's what it is. Like, if I do kind of challenge myself to, like, if I'm just, like, around the house doing stuff, I'm like, okay, like, anything I, like, you know, say out loud, like, oh, okay, this goes here, gotta do this. Like, if I want to, I can make myself think out or speak out kind of like basic everyday household stuff completely in Spanish. So like, yeah, I understand, like, and again, the difference, like when I see Russian, I'm like, okay, I gotta think about this for a second. But, like,
I gotta sit down for this one.
Yeah, I gotta sit down for this one. But there's a pretty solid degree to which in Spanish I see it, and I'm just like, yeah, like I there's no translating going on a conscious level. I just know what it is. Yeah. But yeah, like that experience as a kid where I was like, whoa, not everyone thinks
the same, like
the same way, or has the same
like same concepts, yeah, like, but not translated in your head the same way.
Because like when you're a kid, and another fun slightly embarrassing story about me when I was a child, which also probably could have predicted the fact that I was going to be a languages type person. I was like 3 years old, and my mom and my Grammy went out to a Chinese restaurant, and I saw the waitresses talking to each other in Chinese, and apparently I was just like wide-eyed staring at them. But then when they came over to the table, I tried to speak Chinese, which was just my little 3-year-old self making a bunch of really weird noises, which must have been so offensive.
I mean, I think the fact that you were 3.
Like, yeah, I was 3. But, yeah. Like, of course, my Grammy's like, oh my god, like, trying to, like, you know, get me to, like, sit down and be
silence
quiet.
And
you. My mom is just, like, crying, laughing.
But it is, like, a little funny. I mean, because you don't know any better.
I'm pretty sure that's probably the first time in my life that I was ever exposed to people speaking to each other in a way that I didn't understand. And, like, clearly I was like, whoa, like, you know, something happened there for me to be, like, fascinated with that. And, like, because I have to have known that they were, like, speaking to each other. But, yeah, like, again, that moment, I think, was a pretty... looking at the way I am now, shouldn't have been surprising. And the moment I realized that people who speak different languages don't think in English and then translate everything they say, mind-blowing. Yeah. Absolutely mind-blowing. All right. Do we have anything else to say about knowing how or when we die? I don't know how we got here.
Wow. We really just jumped from concept to concept with no idea how we got there sometimes.
Someday we should, like, actually... That should be, like, a bonus video where we sit down and watch an old episode of the podcast ourselves. And track it out to, like, figure out how we get from point A to point B.
How we
like,
think.
Connect everything. Yeah, and we could make, like, a big, like a murder movie, like, crime movie, like a bulletin board with, like, string and everything.
I mean, that happens to me often when I'm just telling a story. Like, all right, like, and so that's what I did today. You did not start there. Like, how'd we get here?
No. My email notification just popped up about my signed Ninja Sex Party CD, which arrived in the mail yesterday.
Ooh, fun.
Got it right here. Ninja Sex Party, please come on the podcast. Okay. Here's a real hot button topic. Best Chris. Best Chris, worst Chris.
All right.
Worst Chris is Chris Pratt, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
For many.
Wait, let's just so everyone's on the same page. Let's go through all.
Yeah, let's go
all
through
the Chris's.
Why Chris Pratt's. Go through the Chris's and then why Chris Pratt sucks. Go on.
Okay, so we got Chris Hemsworth.
Thor.
Mm-hmm. Chris Pine.
The guy from Star Trek.
Yes. Wait, why am I drawing a blank? Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. Star-Lord, Peter Quill, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Also from Parks and Rec.
Yes, and oh
Chris
my
Evans.
gosh. Yes, Chris Evans. All right. It's kind of embarrassing because I forgot, but I love Chris Evans.
Oh, I love Chris Evans. The man is the real-life Captain America. The man stands for democracy.
He does.
Him. And also, like, watching him, like, he was really good as Captain America, but obviously, like, you know, he had to play, like, the good boy.
Mm-hmm.
Watching him in Knives Out was so clear he was having so much fun playing a colossal jerk after having to be, like, the upstanding American, having to be that character of the upstanding American hero for so many movies.
I know.
That man was having so much fun. And also the sweater game, killed.
I feel like it's so jarring to see him in any other role besides Captain America because...
Killed it.
Yeah, no, he's a great actor, and it's just so different because we're so used to him playing that one role. It's like the Daniel Radcliffe effect. Like, everyone knows him as Harry Potter, but I know he's a good actor too.
I was going to say, another hot take, Daniel Radcliffe absolutely would have had a career without J.K. Rowling.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck J.K. Rowling, she's a TERF. And also, I saw this recently on TikTok, and I'll link it in the description. It was some footage that somebody had posted of Rupert Grint acting in a play. So good. Like, he was fantastic. That man's talent was wasted in the Harry Potter movies. And
also, Daniel Radcliffe was on Broadway for a long time as well, right?
He did a play, which was Equus, I believe. And he did How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Yes, that's the one I knew him from.
Such a fun musical. But yeah, no, like, Daniel Radcliffe absolutely would have had a career without Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling. Like, no question about it. And Rupert Grint is extremely slept on. But yeah. And, like, I'll admit, the translation of the character of Ronald Weasley from books to film really was not ideal. Like,
honestly,
they whittled him down into, like, a 3-note sidekick. So, I mean...
I feel like that happens with the majority of characters, like going from book to movie, but it's very apparent in the Harry Potter movies. Yeah. Just like...
So I can see why he didn't really, like, Rupert Grint didn't really have, like, a huge opportunity to showcase, like, a ton of range. But yeah, oh my god, like, again, I'll link it down below. He's so good. Like, I want to see if I can find, like, a bootleg or something of the whole play, because it was great. But anyway, back to Chris's.
We did it again.
But yeah, Chris Evans, love him.
Chef's kiss.
Love the man. Love Chris Hemsworth. Himbo rights. Men who are hot and dumb and polite and respect women. Absolutely love to see it. And who's the other one? Chris Pine. Love the guy. Seems like a cool dude. I also love that picture of him in Italy where he's wearing, like, a floor-length caftan and holding a glass of wine and just looking like he's absolutely vibing. Like, I truly wish that was me.
I'm like the opposite of that right now.
Aren't we all the opposite of vibing right now?
Yes.
I'm gonna get my cursor off screen because I know how much that bothers me, but I always seem to forget and, like, leave my cursor on screen while my screen recorder's running. And then I'll realize it later and be like, oh my god. But yeah, Chris Pratt, worst Chris. For many reasons. We have these reasons. We have them all. We did research.
He's a Trump supporter?
Yeah, he's a Trump supporter. He cheated on his wife. Gross. I'm, like, pulling up our text conversation because we have so many examples of Chris Pratt being worst Chris.
Honestly, the only role I thought he was decent in was Parks and Rec, and that's because I'm a big fan of Parks and Rec. And I do think he changed as a person after that too. Like that's when he lost the weight and I don't know, I guess started cheating on his wife.
Yeah, really.
So I feel like it was downhill. Perhaps that was his peak.
Perhaps. I have only ever seen, like, I've only seen episodes of Parks and Rec, and, like, when my friends have been watching, and I've always thought they were funny. I just never, like, sat down and watched the whole thing. But, yeah. He's a Trump supporter. He gave up his cat for adoption when it got too old, and it was too hard to look after. Gross.
That's
you do not
sad.
do that to an animal that has bonded with you. Yeah, cheated on his wife. His church is mad homophobic and supports conversion therapy. So yeah, he's the worst Chris. And also, again, like, everybody kind of being like, hey, so why are all the other Avengers actors, like, coming in clutch for this guy, but when, like, Brie Larson and Zendaya were getting harassed for, like, being women and Zendaya for, like, being biracial, they were just kind of like, nothing we can do, nothing to say. I'm like, really?
I know, for Brie Larson, weren't they saying she was, like, too bossy, or...
They were saying so many shitty things about her.
Mm-hmm.
It was honestly, like, disgusting. But yeah.
And also,
Chris Pratt
I know, going back to her, in interviews, like, you could tell they were not treating her with respect. Like, they were... It was just awkward to see, like, them all answering questions, like the Avengers characters, well, the actresses and actors in real life. And I don't know, it was just like they weren't vibing with her, and it was very awkward to watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, Zendaya too, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and she was awesome as MJ. I loved it. So yeah, Chris Pratt sucks.
It's a no from me.
It's a no from me, dog. All right, well, that was solid pretty quick. We'll move on to the next one. Oh, here's a classic. Starbucks versus Dunkin'. Which is better?
All right, well, Starbucks is overrated, but I will say, when I need to stay up, that does the job. Like, I'm thinking back to my college days, and if I had to stay up to study or write a paper, I would get a red eye, which is a cup of coffee with a shot of espresso. Sometimes
I think that would kill me.
Sometimes 2 shots, Bridget. Like,
I genuinely think that would kill me.
I think I had some near-death experiences with that, like, just
as one does in college.
On a whole different level, like, of caffeinated. But Starbucks is good for that. I will say it is overpriced.
And, it's absolutely overrated and overpriced. 100%. But as a person who doesn't drink coffee and is a tea snob, there really kind of isn't much happening for me at Dunkin'. I do love a Dunkin' breakfast sandwich, like a bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant. Love that. Fantastic. If we're, like, getting breakfast sandwiches on a road trip, Dunkin' all the way. But they're really, beverage-wise, there's really not much for me.
Yeah. See, I don't really eat much at either of those places. I will say Starbucks does have small proportions of food for a unnecessarily high price, whereas Dunkin', I think it's not as pricey, and I don't know, I haven't really tried it, so I can't knock it, but I will say Dunkin' Donuts, best donuts ever.
Oh yeah, no. Anyone who prefers, like, I don't like Krispy Kreme donuts.
There aren't too many on Long Island, so I don't eat them often. I don't even eat donuts too often, but when I do, Dunkin' Donuts is the place to go.
When I was growing up, and we used to go to church every Sunday with my dad. To quote John Mulaney, I was raised Catholic. I don't know if you could tell by the everything about me, but a lot of the time when I was really little, we would stop at Dunkin' after church, and I would get a chocolate frosted donut with rainbow sprinkles, and my dad would get, like, coffee and whatever, and it was always the best. So, also fond memories with on the donut front. And yeah, I love a good donut. now and again.
Me too. Their Boston cream donuts are really good.
Ooh, I think those are the ones my dad likes.
Oh, they're so good.
But yeah,
once again, talking about food.
always. But yeah, beverage-wise, Starbucks all the way. Because they got the nice, like, different, like, tea blends and, like, I love a good chai latte.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's my take.
I don't like how Starbucks, there are a lot of coffee options, but some of those, like, mixes, there's barely any coffee in there.
Yeah,
it's all, like, sugar
milkshake.
and milk. Yeah, like, they're just caffeine milkshakes.
But that's, like... That's for people like me who don't drink tea. Like, people who think coffee's disgusting, but they need a caffeine fix somehow, and, like, tea just doesn't do it for them.
Would you drink it then if there's... Because some people are into that and like that more, and, you know, to each their own. Yeah. But for me, that's, like, a disgrace to coffee. Like, all this, like, caramel and whipped cream layers, and I don't know what else they put in there. Pumps of syrup. That's not coffee. You put in, like... 2 inches of coffee.
I will agree. Some of them, there's way too much going on. Even if it was just, like, a plain drink, like, flavor-wise, there's too much happening.
Yeah.
Like, you can combine 3, maybe 4 flavors before it all just starts getting, like, muddled and weird and, like, not...
They look like chemists back there. Like, all right, this one needs 2 pumps of this, and, like, I'm like, where's your lab coat? Like, you're doing so much work for this cup of sugar.
Did you work at Starbucks on campus or no?
I did not. I felt sorry for them.
Oh my god!
Because they look so busy.
I always felt
so busy.
Every now and again, there was somebody who I would see them, like, because I would. On campus at Geneseo, like, especially towards the end of the semester, I'd always have a ton of extra money on my, like, meal plan, so I would always spend it on Starbucks, which was fantastic. But I would go get Starbucks before class, and I would see somebody who was supposed to be in our class, like, at their shift. I'm like, oh, so you're just not going to be there today, which is, like, I don't care, like, whatever. I was just like, that's kind of funny. Oh, I
love those experiences, like seeing someone that, we have class in 2 minutes and I'm on my way and you're doing something completely unrelated to walking to class.
Or, like, seeing a professor, like, when you're late and you, like, see the professor, like, right ahead of you, you're like, okay, it's not that bad. That would happen to me frequently. But yeah, I miss that. I miss getting Starbucks all the time. It was so good.
I do miss it. I love coffee shops, and I like just sitting in them.
Oh my god, same.
I don't do that as much because college is over.
I need the Rona to be over. I want to go back to my cute little aesthetic coffee shops. So nice.
I just sit there for hours and do no work.
Right?
That was me.
And people are always like, oh, it's so annoying. People are, like, doing work in coffee shops. I'm like, I don't care. I'll be an annoying hipster. I love the aesthetic. It makes me feel so warm and cozy inside.
That's me 100%. I will go grab my quirky glasses and sit there for hours.
Love to see it. Love to hear it. Yeah, no. Only way to go. Only way to go. Absolutely love it. The whole aesthetic is just... perfect.
But Dunkin' and Starbucks don't quite have that aesthetic. Like, Starbucks more so I'd rather sit in. Yeah. Dunkin's, no offense, dirty half the time. I would not like, park my ass there and do work.
Donuts, breakfast sandwiches, great. The vibes are off.
Very corporate, and, like, they want you out of there.
Very much off.
Too pink and orange for me.
Yeah.
I prefer green, so Starbucks for that matter.
I do look good in earth tones. But
yes.
Yeah. And also, like, any, like, indie coffee shop that has the same kind of stuff going on. Like, if I can get a chai latte at, like, an indie coffee shop, so much better.
Yeah, but for coffee, I am particular, but I try to stay local when I can, which isn't hard. There's definitely smaller coffee shops around here on Long Island.
No, like, cute stuff around here. Like, nothing that I could walk to. Like, I would have to, like, drive. And,
I do have...
on a city street, and I'm like, I'm just not...
It's a lot of work. That. I do have to drive to them. It's not walking distance, so there's that.
Other reasons I miss being in Russia. Walking to everything. And again, there's an adorable little coffee shop, like... A block in St. Petersburg is different than an American city block because the streets are, like, super, super long. So, like, not to be, like, that annoying person who, like, went to Europe, but, like, you walk around like a New York City block in like 5 minutes. It's a 20-minute affair. Like if you want to take a loop around the block. So like saying it was like a block away, it's slightly longer, but it was still walking distance. It was the cutest little coffee shop that was like 5-10 minutes away from our like dorm / hotel / hostel. Absolutely excellent. Miss it so much. Again, not to be that annoying bitch that went to Europe and that's their whole personality now.
I studied abroad.
No, okay. People are the ones who did it like any NYU student that went to France or Italy.
I think it's so funny seeing what people post on their social media, like Instagram and Facebook, like every 2 days. Like, ooh, look at this building. Ooh, look at me with doing these touristy things. Like, we get it. You are in Paris. Like,
I did try not to be the most annoying. But also, other than that, the only time I had ever left the country, I was like 7 and went to Canada and didn't need a passport because I was so young and barely remember any of it. So, like, for all intents and purposes, this was my first time actually, like, leaving the country. And it wasn't just, like, you know, kind of lame and just being like, just pop over to Canada. I was just like, no, balls to the wall, going to Russia.
And
so
I'm not saying...
exciting.
I'm not saying don't post pictures. Like, live your life. Like, you want to show us what you're seeing? Like, please do. But there's a proper way to do it and like an etiquette for that, not just like plastering your social media with like constant pictures, like a bombardment of that.
I did my best not to be the most annoying.
You can flex a little, like you are in Russia, so
a tiny baby bit. It was very exciting. All right, moving on.
So yeah, that sums up Starbucks versus Dunkin.
Okay, so this was submitted by I guess we can say a fan. We have fans now.
Yes.
Maybe only like 3, but they exist. All right, so this was submitted by. He sent the questions to you, right?
Yes, this is from Dave and Lois. So first off, thank you for watching our content.
Very much appreciated.
That means the world to us.
All right.
One of 3 viewers. Yeah. I don't even know.
I actually haven't looked at the analytics in a hot minute, so maybe we're up to like
4.
Maybe we're out of the like 10 to 20 and in the range of like 15 to 30. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll find out when I do my editing tonight and have to look at the like content creating pages for Anchor and YouTube and all that fun stuff. But this is the question. When putting glasses and mugs away in the pantry, do you start on the left side or the right side? So I'm right-handed, and I think this is also heavily dependent on which way the cabinet opens. Because you know how some kitchens, like, you got that weird cabinet that, like, you know, whacks into something, you gotta, you know, put things in it a certain way. So I think it's heavily dependent on whether you're righty or lefty, kitchen layout, and which direction the cabinet opens.
Okay, so there are a lot of factors going into this.
So like, in my house, the cabinet that we put, like, cups and mugs in, if you're facing it, the handle is on the left side, and it swings out to, and it, like, when you open it, it goes from left to right. So I usually start, like, and it's never really, like, completely empty. Like, I never have to start from the beginning and, like, go all the way back.
Yeah.
But when I'm putting things back, like, you know, like a couple glasses that were in the dishwasher, there's, like, an obvious, like, space for them to go. I'll start on the left.
Okay.
So, that's me. That's my kitchen. But in the kitchen in my house at Geneseo, we had, like, a double door cabinet type deal. And it would depend on, like, you know, because we didn't have a dishwasher, so it would depend on, like, for how many days we had been letting all of our, like, empty mugs. Because it was 4 people combining ridiculous mug collections, so we could go quite a while without, like, washing mugs if we wanted to. So it would depend, like, how much space was I actually starting with, like, you know, doing the entire thing. Because if I was, I would start on the right side then.
Gotcha.
So
for me, now that I'm back at home, we have a double door cabinet as well. And so we're kind of a mess here. It depends where there's available spaces. So it might be here, 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 all different places. So I just fill in the gaps with my cups and mugs when they come out of the dishwasher. But I think cup size plays into it. Like, that's the most important thing because I double stack cups. So if there's a big cup with a large opening, I'm going to put a tiny cup in there. And who knows where that might be, left, right?
Right.
But when I was in Geneseo, my apartment there is like one door only, I think, opening from the left, swinging to the right. And we had 2 levels on that shelf. So, and this is where height plays into it because I'm taller than my roommates are. So I would take the top shelf for everything. And there weren't too many spaces, but I'd fill up, I don't know, maybe enough for 4 cups. So it's not really going so much left to right, whereas up and down.
Yeah.
So I would take up the top shelf.
That's the thing, like, in my house, too, because we have a bunch of different kinds of cups. Like, we have, like, plastic Tupperware cups, and then, like, glass, like, actual, like, you know, glassware, and then those, like, what's the brand? Like, the Tervis glasses, like, the insulated tumblers. So we have a bunch of different glasses, and, like, you know, people use them for, like, different things throughout the day, and then they all go into the dishwasher, so you get this big mix of glasses coming out, and, like, you know, there'll be, like, a spot, and, like, you know, we organize them by type in the cabinet, so there'll be, like, you know, 2 spots missing in the stack of, like, you know, Tupperware glasses, and a spot missing with the, like, you know, insulated, like, plastic ones, and, like, a couple spots of the actual glassware. So it is also kind of like filling in gaps where they are.
I do think that putting away the cups and mugs is
texting me.
I think that's the most stressful part of putting away dishes because plates you stack one on top of each other. Same thing with bowls and silverware, including your sporks.
Your spades.
You'll put those in the utensil drawer, and they all have a place. But cups, it's like, yes. But cups, it's kind of spontaneous almost.
A little, yeah.
A little bit.
But I mean, like, we have these themed cups, such as my Halloween cup. Those,
very nice.
Those reside, like, in the corner in the back, because they only...
Do you have a holiday section?
No, we only have, like... We actually do have, like, Christmas-specific, like, dishes, but it's actual, like, nice glassware.
Like china.
Yeah. And, like, that gets rotated out around the holidays, but the only kind of, like, drinking vessels that are involved in that set are, like, mugs. Because you know, like, how you have Christmas dinner and, like... Or, like, Christmas Eve dinner, and it's like, oh, dessert and coffee. Like, it's stuff for that. It's not actual, like, just, like, drinking glasses that you would put, like, juice in or whatever.
Yeah.
So the only holiday cups we have are the Halloween ones, and they hang out in one of the top corners, because they only get used during a short time of the year.
We have a lot of Christmas-themed holiday mugs, but we just use those all year. We don't really care. They're not part of a set.
The serotonin boost I get from, like, when we change over to the Christmas dishes. So nice. Makes me so happy. Keeps the seasonal depression at bay.
Yes. I feel like that doesn't kick in for me until, like, January.
Yeah, no, the seasonal sads happen in January.
Do you know, January, I'm not sure if this is still true, but I once heard that was the month with the highest suicide rates because it's after the holiday season has ended and people are going back to work and it's more depressing.
I think I did read that somewhere. To put a trigger warning in here.
I truly do not have a article to back that up, but that's just something that I've heard. And I would believe it, yeah.
Anyway, on a much lighter note.
So, yeah, that's the order to stack cups in.
The order in which we stack things in the cabinet. Wait, where'd it go? Google Doc. Yes. I know how to use a phone. Do you use Spotify or iTunes?
Spotify.
I kind of use both. I don't have Spotify Premium.
I don't either.
So Spotify is like, I will like listen to like new artists or like albums I haven't heard before and like try them out. And then if I really like them, I'll buy them on iTunes.
Mm-hmm.
And also like my parents had like a pretty decent CD collection because, you know, boomers. Or like, you know, just people that were like alive in the 90s even.
Yeah.
But they like, my dad especially backed up a ton of his old CDs, and they're all like good classic rock CDs, so like Rolling Stones, Queen, Beatles, all that fun stuff. He backed them all up to the computer and then like, you know, put them on an iTunes account. So I did the same thing with a lot of my CDs.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, you know, I had some when I was a kid, and like whenever we would go see a Broadway show or like see a tour of a show, I would get a CD. So I have a lot of those. And yeah, like there are artists that I like. I really don't care about if people are like pirating music from like, you know, classic rock giants, like who cares? But like a lot of like small kind of like independent artists, I do want to actually like, buy their music and support them.
Yes.
So I don't know, I kind of use both. And
Okay.
I do love that once you buy something, like, again, just the no ads, because I don't have Spotify Premium.
Yeah.
If it's on my
Ads
phone and
are
I don't have to
annoying.
listen to like advertisements. Very nice. Do prefer that.
I don't have premium either. If an ad comes up, I just X out of the app and then reopen it because
You can do that? Ooh.
yeah. Life hack, Bridget.
Life hacks, baby. Okay, well now I know.
And now that you know about that, no, but anyway, when I was younger, I would use iTunes. I know that's different from, is it different from Apple Music? I've been using Spotify for like 6 or 7 years now, so I don't really.
The only person I know that uses Apple Music only uses it because she lives in Russia, and until recently she didn't have another option because Spotify just launched there.
Wow. But anyway, I would use iTunes when I was younger, and like a lot of people my age and older, I would go to LimeWire and FrostWire and get all these viruses downloading my music, and it took forever, but you know.
As one does.
And
see, that's an experience I only ever like found out about through other people because I was
one of those.
I wasn't sheltered, but I also was.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would literally be out like in the driveway with my friends hanging out. Like my friends would come over and we would light things on fire, and my parents knew about this and were completely fine with it. Like we would build little like we had like a bunch of like leftover bricks from like some project or something. We would like take the bricks and like build little fireplaces and put like twigs and leaves and stuff. And then, you know, my dad would just be out doing yard work and we'd like light them on fire with a magnifying glass. So like I wasn't sheltered, but also.
So Bridget was busy setting things on fire while I was pirating music.
But like I never pirated music. Like I wasn't really like allowed to have like an emo phase. So like I both was and was not sheltered as a child.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, also side note, almost every Bridget I've ever met is a pyromaniac. And I think it might have something to do with the fact that like I think it's like Bridget was the Celtic goddess of fire, and that's where the name comes from.
Oh, so you're just living up to your name.
Yeah, so really it's just it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
I was gonna say like, oh, yeah. this is going in a wholesome direction. Like Bridget is out playing with her friends, enjoying. Like no, they're just saying
things on fire.
I still support it. By the way, that sounds like fun.
There's a TikTok I got a link in the description. Like it's this girl who's like putting together a bunch of like candles to like join the flame, and the girl who's filming, you can hear her yelling, "Bridget, it's too much!" I'm like, oh my god, it's me.
This is me.
It's all of us. Yeah, again, almost every single one I've ever met loves to burn things. Don't know.
You guys should form a group chat of some sort, like 200
Arson
Bridgets.
Club for Bridgets.
God.
But yeah, maybe that's
fire friends. You could be fire friends.
Fire friends, yeah. Any other Bridgets out there that like to play with fire, hit me up.
Wow.
Find me on Twitter. We'll plan something. Not arson, but something. What was the question?
Spotify versus Apple Music or iTunes.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So clearly, like, staying on track.
We're great at this. Yeah, did we have anything more to say on that?
I guess I converted from, well, I wasn't even using iTunes really. I was just using like LimeWire and illegally downloading it onto iTunes. So I was just using iTunes, like not even buying the content. But now I just do Spotify, and I don't have premium because I'm no longer a student and it's not discounted. And yeah.
Sad. Yeah, no. Like, I'd love premium. Sounds great. But, like,
I'm just not there. I'm just not there financially right now. So
sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday. Maybe someday I'll be able to afford a small monthly subscription.
And a microphone.
Yeah, the American dream. Okay. Oh, here's a fun one. When does it stop being grave robbing and start being archaeology?
You know, I read all the time about how they're digging up like all these Egyptian royalty like mummies, and I'm just thinking one of these days there's gonna be a curse like that's gonna wreak havoc. Maybe
I think they already did.
I think this year might be it.
It was what was it, like the black sarcophagus? Remember that was a thing they dug up?
Yeah.
And then they opened it. I think that definitely had something to do with the shit show.
All of this.
You know, other than systemic oppression.
Yes.
Aside from that.
This factored into it.
Yeah, just a teensy bit. But yeah, I don't know. Because I also feel like it depends on the method of death. Because if it's like a city that was like Pompeii, that was like wiped out by some disaster, like I feel like if people because it got buried and people hadn't didn't know about it for a while, right? I feel like it would be considered archaeology after a shorter amount of time if it was a thing like Pompeii rather than literally just digging up someone's grave.
Yeah, I think time plays into it because you're not gonna dig something up you buried like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That is, and also like, what is it? Are you digging up a person? Like that is definitely grave robbing. Yeah. But if it was like animal remains of some sort, and I even think it's disrespectful if it was like, what, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Absolutely. Like, why would you be digging that up? I don't know. But if it was like dinosaur remains from however long ago it might be, then no, that's not. And also, I think if it was an official grave site of something, like there should be more respect for that. Whereas if it's a disaster like Pompeii, as you mentioned, where it's just scattered and it was, unplanned.
Yeah, like I think if it's like an unplanned discovery of something like clearly made, like again, like Pompeii, or like they find like the ruins of some city that they didn't even know was there, that's different. And also like I think archaeology is really cool and I love reading about it, but also I find there's definitely like kind of this gross issue of like, especially in like older I'm no expert. I'm assuming this is still happening today, and I'm going to assume it was definitely worse in years past of white people, digging up native, bones, artifacts, and being like, these are ours now.
Claiming it.
We
learned nothing.
Yeah, no, which is like gross and bad and should not happen. Because it's super disrespectful. So yeah, I don't know. Like that's my thing. Like, you gotta be you have to be really respectful about it. Like, especially if it's like people that are like still around.
Would it be grave robbing if it wasn't a living thing though? Would that just be robbing?
That I don't know. And I also think it's different if it's like a society that, like, no longer exists. Like
ancient.
Yeah, like a group of people that don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Not that, like, just, like, you know, like the... I'm trying to think of a good, like, example of, like, an ancient civilization. Like...
I mean, technically everyone has roots to ancient.
Yeah, that's my thing.
But, like,
that,
it's so far removed that it's, like...
Yeah, and I'm not saying that, like, the kind of modern day, like, ethnic groups that came out of whatever kind of ancient civilization, like, they should definitely, you know, have more of a claim to that than somebody from than somebody from, like, a completely, like, who has no connection to it whatsoever. But I think it is, like, it's definitely important to, like, look back at all this old stuff and, like, you know,
yeah, and I'm not saying
what was
like
happening.
And archaeology is very important because it helps us understand you know, history, and perhaps could help us in the future, like understanding.
Like, it has to be done, like, so carefully, and with some, like, same for, like, cultural anthropology. Like, it can so easily become people, like, coming in and being like, oh, these people are, like, you know, these guys are primitive, they're wrong, we're superior, we have to educate them and, you know, make them you know,
that's just making people like, that's just making people like you. There's no such thing as, like, advanced or whatnot, because that's just, you are a different society.
Cultural Darwinism is a myth.
You are comparing one society to another. Like, these are different. Like, just because you do things in this method here, it works for this group of people.
Because that's the thing. I think, like, anthropology is, like, what kind of gives, like, I love reading about other cultures, other traditions. I think it's so interesting, and, like, anthropology is kind of what gives us that, like, these, like, studies of, like, these are the practices of this group of people, and this is the history of, you know, these different, like, other groups of people, and where this, you know, modern tradition might have come from, and why it might have started. Like, that I think is so cool. But again, like, things like archaeology and anthropology can get so kind of tangled up in, like, kind of, like, white superiority type stuff, which is gross. But yeah, no. I think the difference between archaeology and grave robbing, it's definitely time sensitive. Definitely, like, method. Like, if some disaster wiped out a city and they discover it in a relatively shorter period of time after, so say, like, 50 to 75 years versus, like, centuries. Yeah, I don't think if it's, like, a disaster like that, you don't have to wait centuries for it to not be considered grave robbing. And also, whether or not people of that group are still around, and and how their descendants feel about that. So I don't know. That's how I would determine whether it's archaeology or whether it's grave robbing.
Yeah, I feel like there's no definitive answer for that exactly. You have to factor in many things.
Yeah, there's much to think about there. Much to think about. Alright, I think we got time for about one more. Because that was our last assigned question for today, but we've got some.
I have one, and it's because I'm looking at you, Bridget.
Do tell.
And I'm looking at your phone. I see you have a pop socket on there.
Socket. It has a little snake on it.
That's cute. So what's better, the card holders or pop sockets?
You know they have a combo now.
I did not know that. That's like the spork of, like, what could be on the back of your phone.
Right?
Like, just...
I'm going to say pop socket because I'm extremely klutzy. And also, I would be really paranoid about my card falling out and me losing it.
Wait. So for pop socket or for card holder?
For, like, the card holder. I don't have that because it makes me paranoid.
Gotcha.
I'm a stick my phone in my back pocket type person. And, like, if someone, like, took my phone out of my back pocket, I would feel it. But, like, what if they just got the card? Or, like, what if the card just, like, you know, as I'm putting it in my back pocket, like, it just falls out and I walk away? Like,
and also, if you put in a few cards, that expands it over time. And then, like, what if you just put in one card and it falls out? Like, I'm always scared of that.
Don't like it.
My
phone...
phone...
make combos now.
I did not know that, but it is good to know. And just for those who are watching or listening, pop sockets, and might not know, pop sockets are the little round thingies that pull out. Yeah, and they're good for like taking selfies or videos, as well as just holding your phone in your hands.
Or like you can put it up as a little stand for like watching a video.
But I would have to say, okay, so my phone is naked besides the case. I have nothing. It's naked. I have nothing going on, but I might get a card holder just because I want to get something to hold my MTA subway passes. Gotcha. And I think that's like reaching into your wallet for that. That's like,
but that's why you put it in like.
No, I would put nothing valuable in there. Like I don't know how people put their license or credit or debit cards. No,
none of that. One of the things that people do is like if you put like any kind of card that you have to like scan onto things, like an MTA card, they put it in like the furthest back pocket, so there's the least amount of material between the card and whatever, and you can just tap your wallet on the thing and it'll work. So that's a hot tip for you. But they do have hybrids now where it's like the pop socket goes on top of the little rectangular thing that holds your cards, and you just stick it to the back of the case. So that's an option for you.
Best of both worlds.
Best of both worlds, indeed.
That's one thing that I wouldn't judge anyone for having what they have or what they like. Okay, like you do you, whatever works for you on your phone.
That I don't like, that just kind of bothers me, it's those card holders where it's almost like a slap bracelet and it pops out to have a little ring.
Oh, I don't like those either. Those loopy things.
Yeah. I don't like them because they lose their shape over time.
Yeah.
And the like thing that like it won't go as flat anymore.
Yeah.
Don't like it. Not a fan.
Yeah. Not a fan either.
If that works for you, fantastic. It is not for me. But yeah, no. That's my opinion on the pop socket versus card holder versus other things. Also the ring, I'm not a fan of it, just personally.
I feel like it takes too much time to get off your finger too sometimes.
Yeah. And also I feel like it's less sturdy for like if you have to prop your phone up, because it can usually flip both ways. So you gotta balance it like perfectly right so it doesn't collapse.
The only thing about phones that if you don't have on there is like a case or even a screen protector. Like how, like what? Like what if you drop it?
I wish I was
like living on the edge.
Living like Larry. Yeah, no. That's the thing. Like, especially like I think it looks so nice when you just have like a really nice like sleek looking smartphone with like no case, no screen protector. Like it looks really nice. I can't take that kind of risk. I be dropping my phone left and right. Oh my god, my sister drops hers constantly. Like, I thought I was klutzy. Like, every 10 minutes.
You haven't truly dropped your phone until you've dropped it in the toilet.
I have not done that.
I've done that. Not to an iPhone, knock on wood, but like an old flip phone, definitely did that.
Oh god. Remember when you would drop your flip phone and like the battery would fall out and that was like the only thing that would happen? That was it. That was the worry, and you would just pop it back in. Chuck
it across your house, and you'd have to be worried for the floors, like not your phone.
Right? My first phone was a little pink flip phone where you could like slide up and it had a keyboard.
I feel like now you look at you look at like an Apple iPhone, and just looking at it, the cracks, like
right.
That's how they get you.
Also, like, every iPhone... Like, I feel like they only actually make a major change, like, every 3 iPhone updates. Other than that, it's kind of just BS.
I just learned they're up to 12. What? I'm still on 6S. Like, I am 6 behind.
Yeah, I have an 8.
And apparently, the iPhone 12 looks just like the iPhone 5. Or it's smaller now, so...
I thought we were going bigger!
No, apparently...
Remember when the iPhone 6 first came out, and it was really thin, and people were putting it in their back pocket and bending them?
Yes.
Oh, high school. What a time. What a time that was.
It's just a marketing tool. Now they're going smaller, because, I don't know, running out of ideas, I guess, or how big can you get before it becomes a tablet? That's a good question. That's a good one. How big is your device before it becomes a tablet?
We'll have to save that for the next one because I think
I'll need an hour here. I'll need a measuring implement
we can
for
do
that.
some research and come back to that.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think it's gonna end this episode here. We are available to follow on Twitter at BridgetKelly98 and at MR5MAR, and we will be back very soon. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.